Hi, this is Anthony Parent of Parent Parent LLP, the IRSMedic. And in this video, we're going to go over the IRS Offer and Compromise Pre-Qualifier. What we're going to do is we're actually going to use one of our clients' actual 100% honest numbers. We use for a client who just had an offer of compromise of $1,000 accepted by IRS appeals. So I'm going to give you a link to where you would find the IRS Offer and Compromise Pre-Qualifier. And luckily I have pre-filled the information. I'll be talking about a little bit of it as we go along. So here we are in the IRS Offer and Compromise Pre-Qualifier. It's going to ask you some questions. Are you in a bankruptcy proceeding? If you are, you cannot file an offer and compromise. Then you also have to be in compliance. All required federal returns need to be filed or should be. There are some very limited exceptions to that. Have you made all required estimated tax payments? That's critical. So many offers and compromise, and this is probably the number one reason why people's offers are rejected, is they are not current with their liabilities. Estimated tax payments means if you are self-employed, your quarterlies, or if this is for an offer and compromise on a running business, that your deposits are up to date. It also means your withholdings are correct. So if you are running up new tax debts year after year, don't think about an offer and compromise. It's just not going to work. And here's our question on if you are self-employed, have employees, have you submitted all required federal tax deposits? This is critical. And really, if you haven't done that yet, you haven't, if you haven't gotten today right, that's really what your focus needs to be before you think about settling back taxes. All right, and then we're going to go to the next page. It's going to ask you for your basic information. Here we have our zip code. This is actually someone who's right in our hometown of Wallingford, Connecticut. Haven County. There was 2 people in his household. There was nobody in his. There was nobody over 65. Wants to know that his total IRS tax debt was $260,000. And his last year, this is the question it's asking here, what is the most recent tax year you are requesting a compromise? Well, he actually had a debt in 2011. Okay, total bank balances, and then when we submitted this, he actually had $12. Guess what else he had? Nothing. And actually, let me just scroll down a little bit more. There's actually for a little bit more down here. It's asking for everything you own. He has a vehicle, but he's upside down in it, meaning there's no equity. He doesn't own a home. Doesn't have a retirement account, doesn't have a real property. He's living with his girlfriend. He has nothing but a car, which he owes more money than it's worth. So then we go to next. We go to the next page, and it's going to ask for his gross wages, which is $4,816. He has no interest or dividends. He has no distributions. He has no rental income. He has no net business. He gets no child support. He gets no alimony. He has no additional income. And now it wants to know his rent. We go to the next page. It's going to ask for his rent. We are on the expense part. It's going to ask for his rent. We know that's $1,450. His lease payment is $770. That's a little high. His vehicle operating expense. Well, we actually use right here. We use the IRS standard, which I believe for us is $342 here in Connecticut. His total vehicles owned is 1. No public transportation, no health insurance premium. His state and local taxes are $1,408. He has no court-ordered payments. He has no child dependent care. His life insurance and premiums are $38. Now we'll go to next. Let's go to our next page. And here it is. According to the IRS Offer and Compromise Pre-Qualifier, he owes a tax debt of $260,000. His total available equity is $12. His monthly income is $4,816. His typical monthly expenses are $4,000. Total remaining income is $0. So the IRS says, select your option. Look, according to this, they say he could settle his taxes for $12 paid within 5 months, or $12 over 6 months to 24 months. So that's pretty simple, huh? Right? You could settle, according to this IRS form, you could settle your back taxes of $260,000 for $12, because these numbers are exactly what we submitted in. And let's just run through here the typical monthly expenses, and I just want to show you is that they're actually, where they're going through is we put in our entry here. It's a nice little spreadsheet they give. Then they're going to put down what they allow. And so he's given the food, clothing, and miscellaneous expense of $1,053. That's why it's showing he has $0 to pay each month right here. You see right here his income, his income is $4,816. So here is somebody, and this is a case of somebody who clearly has no ability to pay. Now, would you like to know what happened in this case? Do you think his offer of $12 was accepted? Well, first of all, we didn't offer $12. Okay? Because here's the thing, the $12 would not be accepted. The IRS simply wouldn't take $12. It's a little too insulting because the man is not destitute. His monthly income is $4,816. Why would the IRS give up all the claim they have to $260,000 for $12? That's a little bit too much. So what we submitted an offer for, we thought a good amount was, and the client could easily pay it and was happy with it, was $1,000. So we submitted an offer in compromise for $1,000. So guess what happened? Did the offer examiner take that? Because I mean, wow, now we're offering well above the $12. Did the offer examiner grab that on the spot? No. The offer was rejected. The reason why it was rejected was because that when the IRS looked at some of these expenses, they saw, or some of this debt, they saw that there was self-employment income in 2011, and they were convinced that this taxpayer was still working on the side and perhaps not so honest with his income. So we filed an appeal. And then that went to appeals, and the appeals officer said, sure, we'll accept the offer for $8,000. And I asked the client, would you want to take the offer for $8,000? He said, I would if I had $8,000, but there's no way I'm going to come up with $8,000. And so we said, how about $1,000? He said, yeah, that's what I'm willing to pay. That's what I can pay. So we went back to the examiner, the IRS examiner. It took us about 2-3 months to prove to him that the income that we were reporting was the accurate income. And eventually, the IRS offer examiner relented and agreed to the offer in compromise of $1,000. So when we look at this tool that the IRS has, this is really my concluding remarks, and I think what the takeaway is with this IRS Offer and Compromise Pre-Qualifier is it gives you a great outline. But don't think that this is the end all, and don't think that the numbers that they're giving you here, especially when they're low like this, is the end of all story. There is so much involved, especially when you're looking at dissipated assets, improving income, and then what would happen? What would happen if his monthly income was higher, right? I mean, in so many cases, we have people whose monthly income, it is more. And then when we look down here, when the IRS goes to their typical monthly expenses, when we're going here, the IRS they're just cutting it out. Like, we're not going to allow that. We're not going to allow your rent and mortgage utilities. We're not going to allow this payment. But there actually are essential things people need to live. So that's really where a lot of the arguments come in. So we invite you to use the IRS Offer and Compromise Pre-Qualifier to give you an idea, just to see what the questions they're going to ask. But remember, that's not the end all, and there is a lot of work and a lot of documentation and a lot of knowledge of the law and what is allowable and what's not in order to get an offer and compromise actually accepted. This is Anthony Parent of Parent Parent LLP, and I thank you for watching, and please subscribe to this channel.